everybody. Good morning. It is Enchanted April, day 13, and we're taking 13 as something lucky. Good idea, right? I'm Victoria Moran, and you are wonderful. I'm just so happy for everybody that shows up here, either live or later. So, shirt. I always like to read the message wear. So, this is a yoga shirt. I got it at a wonderful yoga studio in Providence, Rhode Island when I was up there to I think it was a screening of A Prayer for Compassion. Beautiful film. If you haven't seen A Prayer for Compassion, it's now on Amazon Prime. You just put in Prayer for Compassion film, and it's about bringing the ideals of expanded reverence for life and embracing all of God's creatures in our love and care. And it's geared to people who have a spiritual life and maybe want to make it a little bigger. So, A Prayer for Compassion. So anyway, I was up there in Providence, and this shirt says Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Now, I teach a little Hatha yoga class here in my building when indeed we can get together for such things. And one of the students is Indian, and she took Sanskrit as a child in school. And she said this basically means something pretty short, like may all be free from suffering. But we kind of expand it in yoga today, and I think in the vegan world, because it is a very expansive idea. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. We tend to expand to may all beings be free from suffering. May all beings know peace and joy. May the thoughts, words, actions, and choices of my day contribute to that peace and that happiness for all. Isn't that a heck of a thought? And probably if you take yoga, you have seen this or heard this at the end of class. And it's really important that we go all the way with it. I was talking with a yoga teacher a while back. I stopped in at a studio for a different kind of class, and I noticed that they had a book on the shelf. It was a yoga journal anthology in which I had contributed an essay about veganism. And of course, being proud of it, I was showing this woman, look here, I did this article, and she said, oh, isn't it great that we don't have to be vegetarian anymore now that there's humane meat? I was so surprised because, we don't have to be anything. We can be anything we want to be. We can eat anything we want to eat. We can do anything that's legal that we want to do. And yet, the teachings of yoga have always been about ahimsa, reverence for life, thus this wonderful yogic prayer. So, good morning, everybody. As I see more people joining, thank you so much. I see lots of names that I recognize, and I do want to do a shout out to Dolores in Kansas City, whom I have known forever and a day. And it's really wonderful to know that you can go back with some people. So the quotation for today is, if you can't do everything, relax. Just take one simple action on your own behalf. Your life will never be the same. Now, what? That sounds a little bit grandiose and kind of ridiculous. Your life will never be the same. But you know what? It's about attitude. If you do this in a sense of saying, world, it feels as if a million people and a million obligations are calling my name, but at this moment, I'm going to write in my journal. I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes. I am going to take a bath with lavender oil in it. The sky won't fall and your star will rise. It's an act of faith. It's a leap into the unknown of, oh my gosh, the to-do list can be there and I can do something to enlarge my soul. Well, you certainly can. So let me know what you do to enlarge your soul. Let me know what one simple action on your own behalf you might take today in our period of social isolation and whatnot. What can you do today? And maybe if you want to get a little bit more detailed, let us know what you're going to do as we get more out into the world. This thing that feels so permanent, like it's going to be forever, it's not going to be forever. And I'm finding myself growing in appreciation for some of the stuff that used to be ordinary. I so appreciate that this world has coffee houses, that there are places where I can go, have my own little table in a corner, or sometimes shared with somebody fascinating. I can plug in, I can write all day. Now, I'm very careful to pay rent in these places. So that means every hour I order something, even if it's just water or a different kind of tea, because I understand that, people have to pay rent, and here in New York, that's quite a thing. And yet the privilege of being able to go somewhere where I'm just myself and nobody is going to bother me. Nobody wants anything from me. I'm in my wonderful little cubicle, and maybe I will put on my Freedom app, which means that I can have email and social media and everything else blocked, and it can just be myself and my ideas and what I need to be working on. And yet, at the same time, there are all these people around. There's all this energy. When I first moved to New York back in 2000, we had a little sublet, fourth floor walk up on the Upper West Side. It was absolutely enchanting. It was between Central Park West and Columbus, little tiny place, but I thought it was the most magical place in all the world. And there was a Starbucks nearby that at that time had a big table, and I called it the writer's table because in the middle there was a rectangular hole cut out, and down below there was a surge protector, so a whole bunch of people could plug in at one table. Now, this was before, I don't know if it was actually before Google, it was certainly before I knew about Google, and so when somebody needed a word, they would say, "What's a good word for beautiful?" And it was this wonderful collaborative effort. So I miss that, and I thought I appreciated it then, but I appreciate it even more now. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be looking forward to re-indulging in. Hi, Carol Shiflett. That's somebody else who goes way back in my life. Oh my goodness. This is Old Home Week as well as Enchanted April. So what I'm going to do today is finish my mini proposal. And anybody who is a praying person or a light wrapping person or a good thought sending person, gosh, I would appreciate that. I'm very, very excited about this book idea. And like so much else out there in the world of commerce and business, publishing doesn't know what's up. I don't know if Charles Dickens could reincarnate fully formed and ready to write if he could sell a book right now. And I certainly don't know if I can sell a book right now. But I'm going to write the proposal. I'm going to get it to my agent today. And with any luck, I'll be doing what makes me happiest in all the world, which is write a book. That's another thing you could share in the comments, if you would. What makes you happiest in all the world? My two happiest times ever were being pregnant with my daughter and every time I've ever written a book. And I think they're very similar states. The idea of birthing someone or something wonderful. So let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Ooh, I want to talk about my new favorite TV show. Did anybody watch Belgravia last night? Oh my goodness. Now I have a special feeling for Belgravia, which is this section in London which is considered all very rich and hoity-toity. I guess it was put together in the early to mid 1800s as a kind of place for the upper crust to protect themselves from other crusts. But when I moved to London on my 18th birthday, I put myself in a little hotel on the King's Road. in Chelsea. Now, this was the time for all those of you who are so much younger than me, as almost everybody is. This was swing in London. This was Beatles and Mary Quant, and it was so the place to be. So I went to this little hotel, and I had determined that I was too fat to deserve to be in London. I'd been there for a week the previous spring, having lost a lot of weight, and then I felt I was suitable. But then when I went back to live there, I wasn't suitable, so I had to make myself suitable. So I thought, I'm going to go into this hotel, and I will stay here for 2 weeks, and I won't eat anything. I had fasted in the past, and I thought I could do it. Well, I lasted about 4 days not eating anything. And then I figured, suitable or not, I'm going to go out and get myself something to eat. So I'm wandering up and down the King's Road there in Chelsea. Still looks pretty similar in a lot of ways. But there happened to be a little area where people could post notices. And somebody had posted a notice, bedsitter for rent. That's UK for a studio apartment, a one-room apartment. And it was a little bit expensive. It was £13 a week. And some of the other apartments I'd seen were cheaper. But everybody back in Kansas City, everybody who cared about me said, just be in a good neighborhood, even if it's just one room. And I figured it sounded like a really good neighborhood because the street was called Eaton Place. And I thought that had something to do with Eaton Square, which was the center of Belgravia. So I went over there and I rented the apartment. Now, it was a very, very fancy apartment because it happened to have a bathroom with a sink and a bathtub. Now, the WC, the toilet, was outside and down the hall and shared, but I at least had a bathroom. I thought it was heavenly. There was also a little heater about this big. You put shillings in it, and it would supposedly heat through the night, but it never did. So I think I got cold when I was 18 and have never quite warmed up. But that was at the edge of Belgravia, or maybe not quite the edge. Maybe it was right in the middle of it. If somebody's in London, you can tell us where Eaton Place is, but it was Belgravia. And now that I'm watching this amazing presentation, it's written by the same man that wrote Downton Abbey, I just feel like those streets are coming alive again in my memory. And I find that a lot of memory stuff is coming up right now because I'm not making a lot of really vivid new memories. I'm making some sweet memories in this time that's a little bit quiet. I think I told you that somebody called it quiet quarantine. I like that phrase. And so memories can come from this time, certainly, but there's also just a lot of life and excitement from remembering other times and times when we were out doing more social kinds of things. So, thought for the day. If you can't do everything, relax. Just take one simple action on your own behalf. Your life will never be the same. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful April 13th. Very, very lucky day. Take care, everybody. Bye.